All right, so maybe we can finally put this one to rest. A few months ago, I made a video about finding your sound as an artist and how it can be a struggle to develop your sound, find your signature sound, and so on. And that video to date is the one video that's created the most polarity between my viewers. People seem to either strongly agree or strongly disagree with this argument. And the argument is, in order to help us develop our own sound, we need to focus our attention on a singular direction, shooting for a specific genre or style of music and one style alone. Now, in saying this, I've either really helped people on their own journey or I've pissed a lot of people off. And mostly this came from people saying that artists should be free to create whatever kind of music they like, that I cannot and shall not be defined by a genre. And I'm not disputing that at all. If you want to make art for art's sake, music for music's sake, then go ahead, make whatever kind of music you like. That is not my argument. My argument is if you are struggling to find your sound, struggling to develop as an artist, find your audience and actually progress, then sticking to a singular genre, a singular direction at first is essential. When we're just starting out, it is very tempting to dabble in every style that we like. But just because we like something doesn't mean that we should do something. I like all kinds of different music. I like classical music. I like jazz. I like blues, funk, rock, metal, house, techno, disco. But I'm not going to kid myself into thinking that I can progress as an artist if I come into the studio each day with a different style in mind every time I sit down to make music. I come into the studio and make music with a direction, with a purpose, with a clear course of action. It is very fun and self-gratifying to just make whatever music comes out. I did it for years. Trust me, I know the feeling. And I'm going to say this, but that is the easy path. It is easy to come into the studio and just make whatever you feel like. And if that's the kind of artist you want to be, that is fine. Do your thing. You do you. But if you want to see another way of doing things, a way to progress, build your audience, then perhaps you may want to hear me out. When you make music just for you, you are limiting yourself to the music that you like and that you want to make alone. But just for a minute, put yourself in the shoes of people who are going to experience your art. Think of it like this. Say you want to share some music with a friend of yours, and you have a track that you really like. You reach out to your friend and you say, "Hey friend, check out this track. I really like it." Your friend listens to the track and they go, "Oh yeah, that's a pretty cool track." Or you could say, "Hey friend, check out this track. I think you'll really like it." Your friend listens to the track and they go, "Hey, I do like this track. Thanks for thinking of me." I think this principle applies exactly the same to developing your sound as an artist. You are developing your sound for your audience, for people to experience your art. Making music just for yourself, I think, is incredibly selfish. If you expect people to follow you and you're wondering why people don't. When you put other people above your own self, take the ego out of it and all that bullshit, you make music just for your audience, you will see a massive change in the results. I don't say this lightly because I've done that path. I've done the self-gratifying coming in the studio and just making music for me. But when I flipped that switch and started making music for other people, I can't tell you how much that changed my life. It has nothing to do with success or making money. It has to do with growing a fan base, growing an audience, and all the benefits that come from that. Hey, People actually give a shit about the music I make. Maybe I'll make some more of it. Do you see where I'm going with this? I've fucked around for years in my studio with hundreds upon hundreds of unfinished projects and half-cocked ideas with little to no direction, and it got me absolutely nowhere. I was giving myself this false sense of security that I was actually any good at this, but I wasn't. I was shit. I was truly shit. I just didn't want to admit it and face the harsh reality that I had so much more work to do to really get my house in order. I think a lot of people kid themselves that they only make music for themselves and they've never been happier. But I think that this is a really good way to excuse yourself of doing the hard work, because it is hard work. You know it. We all know it. We just don't always want to admit it. Taking this disciplined approach is very hard work. It's courageous. You have to decide what you're going to do and, most importantly, what you're not going to do. When we're beginning, when we're laying down a foundation, a solid education in how to make music from start to finish, sticking to a style and figuring out how all the pieces work together is so important. And like I've said before, from here, you can take this style and develop it in any direction you want. But you've started with a foundation, a good, solid foundation. Hey, I know how to do this and I know how to do it really well. It doesn't have to stop there. You can take it in any direction you want, but please start with a foundation. Start with something that you know, something you're really confident with, and then start taking those risks, bending the rules, changing things, developing, evolving. Your journey will be so much easier that way. So what about all the artists who do make every genre, cross-genre music, the ones who don't listen to all the rules? The Flume Argument. Honestly, Flume's name has come up so many times in the comments of my old video, and people messaging me, what about Flume? I want to sound like Flume. Flume doesn't care about genres. He just makes whatever kind of music he wants. He invents genres. You know what? He does, and he's fucking earned it. He's been at this game for 20 years. He started as a house producer. Flume didn't just roll out of bed one day and start making Flume hit records. He has a long history of releases and a foundation in a specific genre. We can keep cherry picking these top artists who have developed their sound over decades and say, well, they didn't do it, so I'm not going to do it. But the reality is that they didn't start that way. I have watched so many people struggle with this over the years, and it pains me to see people over-identifying with their art, calling themselves complex artists who will not be pigeonholed or tied down to a genre. You cannot define me. There's a time and a place for that, but you have to earn that. You have to go through the hard stuff to reach that destination. It doesn't come overnight. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of courage, and separating yourself from your craft. And you know what? I've also watched people completely transform the way they make music and their whole outlook on music by using this method of sticking to a style, developing that style, focusing their attention in a clear, singular direction. All of a sudden, they're like, I get it now. And I know what I need to do. And I guarantee that you can do the same if you invite a little bit of discipline into your music making. Not taking this disciplined approach is like a restaurant offering every single cuisine. Do you go out for dinner with your friends and say, hey, let's eat everything tonight? No, you pick a fucking cuisine and you go to the restaurant that offers that because you like what they do. And like I said from the start, try to put yourself in your audience's shoes. What do you think they want to hear? Think about the listener. Stop thinking about yourself. There will come a time where you'll want to share your music with the world. And when people ask you, hey, what kind of music do you make? You can answer them and not look like a fucking fool who goes, oh, I don't really know what my genre is, what my style is. It's just a bit complicated, you know. you can answer them with confidence and say, you know what, I make this kind of music. You should come out sometime, see me play. And you may be surprised with just how well your music does and how your audience starts to grow. Maybe it comes from a position of doubt, like you don't actually think you're very good at making music. It's probably because you're all over the place. And if that's the kind of artist you want to be, that's fine. But I'm going to go see and listen to the artist who's actually got their shit together.